Okay, so this is a video of the tripod mugs I'm doing for you guys. I'm using porcelain because I want my advanced students to do this also, and they are using porcelain to do this. So porcelain doesn't work as well with the dowel rods, so we have these silicone rolling pins that it definitely works better with. Definitely probably got too much to work with, but that's okay. Rather have too much than too little. You're just rolling out, trying to make the pressure even with your dowels the way you normally do. Y'all have done this so many times with those dowels now. Just keep rolling it out till it gets to about a 1/2 inch thickness. You don't want it any thicker. It might be thicker in some spots and thinner in others. We want to try to do it. It's one of the points of rolling the pin in different directions to try to push the clay around into as many places as I can. Now I have a template. I'm going to lay it down. See, I still have a little to go over here on the end, which is fine because I still have fairly thick clay. I'm going to be careful when you're flipping it over. Don't crease it or make it curve, because doing that will just create weak spots in the clay. I'm just trying to lengthen it as much as I can here, so I can try again. And my template fits that time, but I'm going to even up the center here. So hopefully it's pretty good. Porcelain, not as forgiving as other clays. You have anything wrong with it, it will let you know. All right, so now that I have that ready to go, I'm gonna measure it up, lay it where I want it to be. You can't kind of see all of it, so I'm gonna turn it this way for you guys. Now you can see all of it. And I'm gonna take a fettling knife, and these are up front in the room. And I'm going to lay it down. See, I'm going to move it each time because I'm trying to go with the natural pull of my arm. That way, and I'm doing it kind of slowly. That way I can get it as straight as possible. It's okay if it's a little knot. I didn't get it as well there. And the last bit. I'm not picking my slab up. I'm not moving around. The more you pick it up, the more you move it around. I'm moving the fabric, because the more you pick up your slab and move it around, the more weak spots you get in it. So there, I've got it cut out. The next thing is to do a beveled lip. I actually have things that make bevels for you. I don't exactly know where they're at though. So the way to do that would be to use a fettling knife at a 45-degree angle. Just sort of go in. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's okay if it's not. It's just there to give a little bit of a help because my slab's a little thick. So I'm gonna have to deal with that later though. So I'm gonna just press it in more since my slab is so thick. I like my coffee mugs thick because I like to hold them by the body of the mug, not necessarily the handle. Personal preference. Because this is, it's not too thick. I don't have any, I don't have a ruler here. But here we go. So now that lip, this is the inside of the mug. That lip curve is on the inside of the mug. So I need to flip it over. If you pick up the fabric with it to flip it over, it works a lot better. Lay it down. And that was the end, that's the top right there. So I have this area that I'm gonna leave a line up here. It's kind of like an individual line. You can't really see it yet, but you will wanna add the texture. And that's because certain textures will break into the lip and it'll also make drinking from the lip very uncomfortable. So let's see, what texture do I wanna use? There we go, I'm gonna use two that I just really like to use. And like I said, I'm going to leave a little bit of a line. Try to make it as straight as I can on there. And I'm just gonna roll it on there. I don't have to press too hard, just a little does it. Move my... Now I have texture 1 and texture 2. So now the all right, what to do if you do like me and you do it upside down. We're gonna blend that line here. Get rid of that texture. And I'm just gonna have 2 lines of texture now. How did I manage to do that? Did I not flip this correctly? Hold up. Porcelain man. All right, well, now I'm gonna keep it laid like that because now I need to use this to put it around something so that I can wrap my mug around it. Now, I said a toilet paper roll, but technically anything will work. A bottle, your Coke bottles. You just take, I have these bottles here in the room. So I'm just gonna wrap this around. That's so it doesn't stick to, as you see, we don't actually use the whole slab. And I should have got tape. Hold on. I'm putting some tape on there so it's not, it stays together. All right, so I'm going to start here and just kind of roll it over. I'm actually going to start over here a little bit more and roll it over. All right. So now I have my mug standing up. And at this point, if you want it to be a little wider, you can. Just got to kind of adjust it the way you want it. And then you're going to cut an angle down through the body of the clay. Wait, hold up. Yeah. Be this way. I'm not the best with angles, as you can tell. I'm just going to cut it down. Hope I did that as straight as possible. Not at eye level, so I can't really see. So I would remove that and remove this part of the inside as well, and should make it to where I can slip and score it together right there on that seam. Show it to you. Kind of see it there. It will be something that's visible, but it's okay. So I'm going to do that now. Don't skip any steps. I'm going to make sure I do it really well, because porcelain does have a problem with cracking easily. It has to be treated very delicately, because it is delicate flour. All right, and I'm going to spray it with water. And you would do all this too, spraying with water, even if you're not using the porcelain, whoever's doing whatever class is doing this. And then I'm just gonna gently kind of push them together. At this point, I'm gonna go ahead and take this out so that I can get my hand in there. A little too big of a hand. Get my thumb. Now, if I can't get my hand in there too much, then you have tools that are like this, that are good for getting down in there and helping press and blend. You see I have a little boo-boo area here. I'm just going to try to move clay and pinch it around until it looks like it's not a boo-boo area. Although if I have a boo-boo area like this, that might be a good spot to put my handle. Might it not? All right, and I still have the seam on the outside, so I'm just going to kind of press it in using this wood tool. So that should be the seam taken care of. If it seems to be giving you it seems to be giving you too much trouble, you can scratch the outside of it, and then sort of blend what you scratched around, and that will strengthen the bond. Might mess up a little bit of your texture, but that's okay. I've never done this with porcelain before. I've only ever really thrown porcelain, so this is a learning experience for me. Okay, it feels feels much stronger now. So now that is it, this is the bottom of my mug, because it's the place where I did not do an bevel for the lip. As you see, there's a little spot right there, but that's okay. It's gonna go away anyway. This is the beveled area. I'm gonna get my hands wet a little bit. So I can kind of work on this area, making it smoother. I'm definitely gonna put my handle there because it's such an ugly spot. But I'm supporting my hand with it. And I'm smoothing it out. Just kind of getting that shape down. I'm not gonna worry about smoothing out too much right now because this clay is really wet. Same as it's wet just like that gray clay is. So they're both easier to kind of deal with and smooth and to really clean once they're a little drier. But I'm just kind of pinching out a little bit. Not pinching, I'm just pulling it back around my thumbs. And that kind of creates that spot for the liquid to come out. So now I'm going to turn this upside down and I'm going to work on the bottom here. Now remember, it's a tripod mug, so it's got 3 feet. Move these out of the way. Now, you've got to remember to slip and score everything together. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start gently getting a triangle shape going. I'm just going to keep kind of, they're going to fold into each other like that. Trying to make sure one's not too much bigger than the other. You gotta be careful of that seam as well. You gotta slip and score. And you're just going to push it together. And obviously we're going to have that little button in the middle, that little spot where they won't close all the way, but that's okay. That'll be fixable. I'm just going to kind of clean up the feet and pinch them as much as I can. Blend them. And then you have your little feet. And when it dries a little bit more, then we'll come back and put a button over the bottom here. Let's see how stable it is. Fairly stable, fairly straight. So I can still manipulate the body a little bit. I'm gonna get my hands wet though while I do that, especially with porcelain because it gets dry so quick. And I'm just gonna put my hand down in it and I'm gonna press out. But I'm using my outer hand to cup. And I'm gonna rotate it a little, press out. So you see my hand is going in there and it's pressing out and I'm rotating a little each time. My hand on the outside is helping me keep that rounded shape I'm kind of going for. Helps me know when to stop. Now you can just leave your mug straight up and down. You don't have to add any flair to it. I just did, just because. So now you can see some of it is a little bit more flared out than others. I'm gonna while I've got it like this, I'm going to take something that's I'm going to kind of gently scratch the inside up, even though I'm going to have to fill those holes more later. Just kind of giving it an extra little bit for when it starts to dry. That it's not going to crack anymore. I'm bonding those. So now we have the start of our tripod mug, and I would suggest now would be the time that you would take it and put it in the boxes up front. I'll have two up there, and they'll say your class period on it, and just sit it on top of your class period. Try to make my feet look a little better, but that's it.